Yes, indeed, the sounds of the Quake 2 soundtrack, track number 9. Oh, yes. And Camelot Wings of Despair, as requested. Okay. Let's get on with it. I'm going to talk about Ahn'Qiraj. And I'm going to talk about the encounters in Ahn'Qiraj. Right. Now, I managed to get some information on the first few encounters of Ahn'Qiraj, and I'd like to thank Blizz Planet for providing it. And I'm going to comment on it. I'm going to go through, and I'm going to talk about Ahn'Qiraj and all this stuff that we really sort of know about Ahn'Qiraj. Now, for those who don't know, Ahn'Qiraj is a combo instance. It's in fact 2 instances in one. In a sort of similar way that LBRS and UBRS are 2 instances in one, only this is a little bit more advanced than that. Now, there shall be a 20-man instance and a 40-man instance, and they're both going to be behind that big, fat gate in Silithus. And there's going to be an epic world event, which will consist of you gathering resources in order to open the gate. And once you get yeah, my brain's not working. Once you enter the gate, open the gate. Ah, dear. Once you open the gate, you can enter and you can take on the ruins of Ahn'Qiraj. That's cool. But behind that, there's something a little bit more sinister. The masters of the Qiraji themselves, in fact, in the Temple of Ahn'Qiraj, a 40-man instance. Nice. So what do we know about it so far? Now, graphically, I've been into Ahn'Qiraj. I went into Ahn'Qiraj at the BlizzCon, and we did the first few pulls. Graphically, it's as you would expect. It's a ruin. Lots of sand. It has a very Egyptian theme to it. Now, whether or not that's a bad thing is debatable. I mean, it's not as if the whole place is obviously, wow, this is blatantly Egyptian in every single way, because it's not. There are things which you wouldn't really expect in there from a sort of Egyptian-themed instance, but in reality, the majority of it is pretty much, well, this is Egypt. Now, does Egypt or any Egyptian-themed stuff have any place whatsoever in World of Warcraft? That's debatable. It really is. Now, a big example of the whole Egyptian thing would be Emissary Roman Khan down in Silithus. He's a big Anubis-style character. Giant, big black dog. And you wonder, what is this Anubis-style character doing in Azeroth? He looks cool, sure, but why is he here? And a more blatant example of the whole Egyptian theme would be Assyrian, who is a big blue, humanoid blue bird kind of thing. He's a variant on Roman Khan. It's like it's the same kind of model. It's very similar, but he's got a bird head and he has wings. Not particularly large wings, just wings on the back of his arms. He's a big blue Egyptian-style demigod, as it were. Now, Osiris. Not exactly subtle, is it, really? Now, he looks like Horus, basically, who was the son of Osiris and Isis, with the head of an obsidian stone hawk. And I'm looking at the picture of him, and that's exactly how he looks. What is he doing in World of Warcraft? Why is Horus here? Does it really matter? There's no question about it. The guy looks cool. He's a badass. It's that simple. Big, blue, and incredibly unpleasant. Now, I've seen a video of a raid wiping on this guy, and oh lord. I mean, this guy is hitting for like 13,000 damage. It's an interesting encounter because the way that it's been done is that initially he is far too powerful to fight. He crits the main tank for like, you just hit the main tank for say 4,000, 5,000. It's like, well, you can't keep the heals up on a main tank like that because the main tank will not take more than a couple of hits before keeling over and dying. So it's not your average fight. I'm not going to ruin how the fight is done, but needless to say, there is some interesting positional stuff involved in it. You don't just run up to him and start hitting him, the main tank holds him and everyone DPSs him down, because it won't work. There are elements to the fight which will involve you moving a Syrian around, kiting him, and using that to your advantage. Now, he's not the only boss which requires this either, and it's an interesting sort of theme, coming in probably from Blackwing Lair, I would say, in some of the boss encounters in there, that kiting a boss is becoming the way to fight him, instead of the usual Molten Core style of main tank, DPS. A good example of the way that they're changing boss fights as a whole is going to be Kuranax, who is a giant scorpion. Now, he has a cleave or Immortal Strike style thing, and it stacks. Now, you all know that Mortal Strike reduces healing performed on the victim. Stackable Mortal Strike is not a pleasant idea. So what you're actually going to have to do is you can't keep your main tank there. It's not going to work, because if your main tank gets too many of these on him, he's dead. He can't stay there. So what you're actually going to have is you're not going to have a main tank, you're going to have a few tanks, a rotating tank system. An interesting fight. And it's good that they're sort of going beyond, going a little bit outside the box, as it were, with their instance fights and their new encounters. Now, there's another fight which reminds me quite a bit of Zul Farak. Now, basically, as soon as you actually kill Kuranax, a human NPC comes out, and when you talk to him, he triggers an event. His name is Rajax, and he triggers wave after wave of Kiraji warriors and flyers. So it's like the battle in Zul'Farrak at the top of the temple. You have to fend off wave after wave after wave, although this time you don't actually get allies to do it with other than your raid party itself. Now eventually someone will come along, a huge scarab on steroids, or so Blizz Planet claims, and his name is Baru. And the crazy thing about Baru is you can't tank him. No, you can't. I'm not going to ruin most of the fight, but I'm going to say this: you cannot tank him, and that's an interesting thing. Very interesting. It's a big change from the norm as far as the whole main tank raid setup goes. And I'm interested in that. Most definitely. So we can expect Ahn'Qiraj to be a rather interesting experience. Now, what I was saying earlier about Molten Core, someone suggested that the reason that Molten Core feels a little bit dead is because that it doesn't have a lot of linked quests to it. Sure, there's the reputation from the Hydraxian Waterlords, but really, that's not a massive quest line. Zul'Gurub, you are linked to the Zandalar tribe. And all the way up until Exalted with the Zandalar tribe, you get lots of nice things. There's a whole bunch of quests to do in there. Not only that, but there are a few quests you can actually get inside the instance itself. So it's a rep grind of sorts, but it's not a bad rep grind. I got to Honoured recently with the Zandalar tribe, and they gave me new recipes. They gave me a new necklace, which was nice. And they gave me access to some of their more powerful items. That's cool. Now, I like that. I feel that any major instance should always have some kind of linked faction to it. I think the one that's done it best has to be the Argent Dawn. Scholarmont and Stratum, the Argent Dawn link to both of them is exceptional. It's a very good system. There's a long line of quests with some very good rewards. And not only that, but there is some stuff worth having if you were to grind rep with the Argent Dawn themselves. And it's not so much of a grind either, because you get the Scourge Stones, which you have to hand in to the Argent Dawn. You get them from just being in the instance, from fighting, from killing. That's cool. What about MC? Nothing. Hydrexian Waterlords. But that's about it. So, that's one of my beefs with Molten Core. And Ahn'Qiraj is going to have some linked stuff, and that's great. It'll be linked in with Reputation. It's a good thing. The boss fights, they're going to be intriguing. Interesting. Challenging, but not completely ridiculous. Now, I have some things to say about rep grinds, and I also have some things to say about raid encounters in general. But that can wait till after the break. I'm going to have a look at some more of the competition entries. They're coming in thick and fast, folks. You've got half an hour. I will be reading them out at the very end of the show. I mean the very end. That's even after the usual outro music. The show will be running right up until the end of the hour, and then I'll play a few tracks at the end. So you've got some time. You've got about half an hour. Email themurloc@gmail.com with something that you have created that symbolizes a World of Warcraft Christmas. Anything you like. There've been some extremely good entries so far, and the prizes range from such things as a 90-day game card to the Art of World of Warcraft book, or some underwear from the Wearcraft store, and many, many more prizes. So, get moving. Do it now, people. You are listening to Blue Please here on WoW Radio. What can we play? So many good tracks, and quite frankly, so little time to play them. Maybe some Slayer, as requested. A classic in the form of Angel of Death. Very Christmassy. Enjoy.